The creation of the National Negro League was made by one man, but it took many to make it possible. This league would try and rival Major League Baseball because the original league would not give people of color the right to play their favorite sport. It was known as the color barrier. If you were a white male with little talent, you had a better chance to get into the big leagues than a young Dominican flamethrower. Rube Foster, the founder, player, and manager of the Negro Leagues, had the brilliant idea to create this league where everyone that wasn't allowed a chance to play in the major leagues had the chance to play some sort of professional baseball. The league was home to just as many stars and more influential personas than the MLB to begin with. You might have heard of the great Hammer and Hank Aaron, or even more so, Jackie Robinson, the first African American player to play in the major leagues. But have you heard of the Black Babe Ruth, Josh Gibson, or Martin Dehigo, the first Latin player to play in the Negro Leagues? They are all players who started their historical careers in the Negro Leagues, but only two of them made it to the big leagues. The rest didn't get their fame until 2020. The great Hank Aaron was an idol to many people across the country and probably around the world. But most people didn't know that he started his career by playing 2 years in the Negro Leagues. He got drafted to the big leagues when he was 20 and completely crushed the original home run record previously set by Babe Ruth. If he had started his career in the big leagues, just think about how many more home runs he could have hit adding the 2 more years. It would have been at least 800. Josh Gibson had played his whole career in the Negro Leagues as a catcher. He caught like Johnny Bench and hit like Babe Ruth. There are also many Latinos in the league. Rube Foster created his league in a way that allowed and gave the right to people from all Americas to play some sort of professional baseball. This included the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Mexico, and Venezuela. Martin Dehigo was the first Latino to play in the Negro Leagues. It was challenging for him at first, but he practiced and worked hard with other professional baseball players back in Cuba and became, as they say, a triple threat. He played anywhere between the white lines, meaning that it didn't matter where you put him, he would play that position, and he would play it well. He even pitched, leading him to striking batters out lefty or righty. At one point in his career, he had an outstanding .90 ERA, or earned run average. To put it into perspective, Chris Sale, who won the 2024 National League Cy Young this year, had a 2.38 ERA. To cap it all off, Martin could also hit with a career batting average of .307. The league average for batting average last year was .243. Nowadays, it's the rarest thing to see a player who hits and pitches, with there only being one in the major leagues, and that being Shohei Ohtani, and one in the minor league system, being Jack Caglione. Rube Foster created his league so it gave everyone the right to play ball. And when he meant everyone, he meant it. Even women could play in the league if they had the skill. And trust me, they had the skill. Toni Stone, Mamie Johnson, and Connie Morgan were the only females in the Negro Leagues. Mamie, who was a pitcher, was just as good, if not better than the men in the league. When batters would try to get in her head, she would go on to get them out mostly by strikeouts. She was extremely competitive in that way, and it has led her to the legacy she has now. When Jackie Robinson got drafted by the Dodgers, the Indianapolis Clowns needed some sort of replacement. They went ahead and signed the first woman. Her name, Toni Stone. She was talented both at her position and in the batter's box. The plan worked. She replaced Jackie Robinson in his position as he went on in the big leagues, and she honored it deeply. Though she had her troubles at first, the boys of the team have never played with a woman before, so it took some time to get used to. Just like what Jackie Robinson had to deal with when he was the only black person in an all-white sport at the time. Lastly, we have Connie Morgan. Connie was sent to replace Toni Stone after she retired, keeping the women's move still in effect. The funny thing is, all the women were signed on the same team. Negro League Baseball started to disband starting in 1948 until about 1953, where there was officially no more viewership in the game. The league wasn't too upset about it though. When Jackie Robinson made his Major League debut, it was iconic. Finally, 70 years after the sport was invented, he was the first non-white player to play in the league. Though Jackie's playing ability was a crucial factor in getting him drafted. If it wasn't for the manager, though, for giving him the opportunity, history wouldn't have been made. Ranch Ricky chose Jackie when he thought of that in order for baseball to be truly the national pastime, a long tradition of whites only would have to be broken. And that's what he did. He picked Jackie Robinson for not only his raw talent on the field, but his mindset as well, setting him apart from the others, enabling himself to push through and struggles of being the only black person and creating a revolution. As Branch's plan to gain the national pastime label, it gained more popularity from the teams within the sport, including the, at the time, Cleveland Indians, then to the St. Louis Browns, where then eventually all teams gave in, which has created the league we know and cherish today. It worked! Rube Foster's creation of the National Negro League, giving everyone the chance to play, had worked. But fortunately, it worked too well. And since all the original talent that had been in the Negro Leagues got sent and put into the Major Leagues, the Negro Leagues wasn't getting any viewership, so they had to disband. It was the right of the Negro Leagues to let players play the sport they love and to persuade other leagues into giving in. In the end, it gave the MLB the responsibility to own up to past mistakes and build a better sport than any other one out there. The talent in the Negro Leagues led to the MLB becoming one of the first professional sports to integrate players, making Rube Foster's idea a success. Recently, all the stats of the Negro Leagues and Negro Leagues Hall of Fame got added to the stats of the MLB, making it a fair chance to all the players who didn't get the chance to play have their chance to be celebrated for their significance within sports history.